Welcome to 101. I'm Rick Kaplan, and my guest today is Michael Ciaburri of Worth Avenue Capital. How are you, Michael?
Good morning, Rick. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic,
Thanks for
considering what's
having me.
going on.
Hopefully you're staying safe, your family as well.
Yeah, we are, and you as well, I hope.
We are, yes, thank God.
So tell me a little bit about what Worth Avenue Capital is all about.
Sure. Worth Avenue Capital is a company that I started just over 12 years ago. We are a direct private lender. We have our own capital that we lend specifically to commercial real estate developers and investors, and we also make loans to small businesses.
So what's the niche market that you prefer to work in?
Our niche is very simple. We go after a niche market that of that segment, the small businesses, the commercial real estate developers and investors who, for one reason or another, are either having trouble getting conventional bank financing, or they need to move quickly to purchase a piece of property. And although they may qualify for a bank loan, they don't have time to deal with the bureaucracy that obviously a bank will put you through to close a loan, with the mountains of paperwork and a time frame of 2 months, 3 months. Being successful in real estate, one of the components is being able to move quickly and be opportunistic. So we allow our borrower and give them the ability to be opportunistic, because I can fund one of our loan requests in a week to 10 days. So that enables a potential borrower who's looking to buy a piece of property, he can close on the property, he or she can close on the property very quickly and take the pressure off of being able to buy that property, because they may be bidding against other people to purchase it. So as opposed to going to the banks and going through the underwriting standards that banks have, where they make you produce tons of paperwork and it takes a long time to close, they can come to us. We can provide the capital very quickly without bureaucracy and close the deal in a week to 10 days. Now they own the property. Now the pressure's off.
So what size transactions do you normally handle?
Sure, Rick, we can make a loan. I mean, we go as low as 100,000. Our sweet spot is really in the $500,000 to $1 million range, but we have a loan on our books right now for north of $6 million. So we can, it's quite a gamut, as small as 100,000, and obviously have gone past the $5 million mark with the $6 million loan currently in our portfolio.
So right now, with what's going on with this pandemic, a lot of companies are probably looking for money, or they might not need the money to this day, but in 2-3 months, because of what's going on, they're probably going to need some money before their credit ratings hit. They're looking at bankruptcies or things like that. Is that something you would try to encourage people to start working on at this time?
Yes, absolutely. What's happening now, Rick, is the government with their stimulus package has put out the PPP loans and also the EIDL loans. And, it's obviously very inexpensive money. The jury is still out as to whether or not a lot of it is forgivable or not. I have a former bank employee of mine when I was in the banking business who works for the SBA, and have been speaking with him about it, and he's not even sure if it's forgivable or not. So the jury's still out on that. So to answer your question, yes. I mean, if someone is looking for capital, but they may not need it for a month or 2 or 3 months, whatever, they should immediately start looking now. What's happened is a lot of these small businesses, and rightfully so, are trying to access capital through the government vis-a-vis the PPP or EIDL. However, the statistics show, as of the end of last month in April, only 11% of the applicants actually were approved and funded with either a PPP or an EIDL loan. So thus, the majority of the marketplace is still out there looking for financing, and eventually they'll have exhausted all the possibilities of getting a government type loan. So when that happens, then they will want to come to someone like myself, who doesn't have the bureaucracy, who can make a quick decision and fund their project very quickly.
Now, is this considered a short term, or would this be like a long-term type of finance?
We're strictly a short-term bridge lender. So what people want to do again is either to fix a problem where they may be with an existing bank and the bank has said to them, hey, you're a good guy, but we'd like you to pay our loan off. And they don't have the ability to go to another bank to refinance the debt to pay off. So they can't go to Bank B to pay off Bank A. So they're going to probably need to come to someone like myself, who's a non-bank alternative lender, who can hopefully refinance the debt for them to pay off the bank and avoid potentially litigation and an uncomfortable situation. On the flip side, on an opportunistic side, a borrower, as I had mentioned, sees the opportunity to buy a piece of property. They have to move quickly. They don't have time to go to the bank and deal with the bureaucracy. So they'd want to come to someone like myself who can fund the deal quickly. And then once they own the property, the pressure is off to close. Now they have time. They've got a year or so to look around and canvass the marketplace and go to various banks and see if they can obtain conventional financing months down the road and then use that capital to pay us off.
So once they have the property, though, wouldn't it be easier for them to go to the bank? Wouldn't the bank?
Yes,
Yeah.
it absolutely is. Sure, especially if it's a development type project. A lot of banks are not interested in doing ground up construction because the risk is high. We will do ground up construction. In fact, we're involved in the largest loan that we have in our portfolio is a ground up construction shopping center in Fairfield County, Connecticut. So we're not afraid to get involved in those types of transactions. Now, obviously with COVID, it's going to become much more difficult for any borrower to access ground up construction financing on any type of project. But, we all hope that the COVID situation is going to be short term, and hopefully several months down the road, we'll put this all behind us, and it'll make it much easier for all of us really to operate our businesses.
So what if someone's looking at short-term refinance right now because they just want that cash coming in to sustain them? Is that something that you would consider doing?
Absolutely. We do lend to small businesses. It's a big part of what we do. All of our loans are secured by real estate. So we will make what we would call in the marketplace a C&I loan, which is commercial and industrial loan, to, we'll call it, for lack of a better name, ABC Widget Company, who's looking for a $500,000 line of credit for their business. If they own either commercial and or residential real estate that has sufficient equity in it and they're willing to pledge it as collateral, that is a transaction that we can do. So that ABC Widget Company may have already tried the PPP route or the EIDL route, and if, for whatever reason, they weren't able to access the capital. So the hope would be that they would call someone like myself, and we quickly, if they have an ongoing business that has good cash flow and they have the real estate collateral, that is a transaction that we'd be very interested in.
And that's interesting because, right now with the restaurant and bar situations and, let's say, gyms and any kind of retail, they've been closed.
Right.
Some of them might have property, some might not have had property, but they had these thriving businesses. So they're probably going to be hurt pretty badly because they're not doing business for 3 months or so.
Absolutely.
And, how would you be able to handle something like that, or would you even consider handling something like that?
I would consider it. Look, this situation is no one's fault. I mean, who could dream that we would be in this position anyway with a COVID type situation? Those small businesses that you mentioned, excuse me, the gyms, the restaurants, a lot of other small retail businesses, the fortunate ones have been able to access the PPP program or the EIDL or both, and have been able to obtain government financing for the short term, which will make them comfortable for the immediate future. But the majority of that segment has not been able to access the government loan programs, and they need cash yesterday. And I am actively speaking to a number of small businesses, and we've funded a couple recently who were in that position, and we will continue to canvass that marketplace to see whom we can help and how quickly we can do it.
I can imagine they need the money quickly because, you know, when you have a business that's not earning any kind of income for, or any revenue for 2-3 months, you know, that is an issue. So, you know, all these government loans that have been going out there, is that affected how you're doing business?
It has, because obviously our money is more expensive than a government loan would be, especially with, you know, the PPP and the EIDL. They're talking about forgiving some of the debt. That's not something I can do. So clearly the small business is going to try to get the government financing first prior to coming to someone like myself. However, as I mentioned, the majority of the marketplace is not, you know, the numbers bear it out, have not been successful at obtaining that type of financing. And the question becomes, how much more stimulus is the government, the federal government, Washington, going to continue to put out to our country, to the small business community? I suppose, and I anticipate that there will be more stimulus, but it's not going to last forever. So the small business that's in that position needs to canvass the marketplace, not just through the government, but contact, you know, private lenders like myself who are out there actively looking to make loans. When you call the banks for financing, what you've been hearing is, oh, you know what, we're just making PPP loans right now. Well, that, you know, that doesn't really do a great service to the average small business who, you know, maybe they have a building they need to refinance or what have you. They just need some quick working capital or have their line of credit replenished. So what I'm hearing in the marketplace, and a lot of my borrowers who are talking to the banks have said that they call the bank, oh, well, sorry, we can't talk to you right now. We're just inundated with PPP loans. So that clearly there's going to be a lot of spillover for businesses and private lenders like myself who will have the opportunity to make loans to these businesses.
Well, everything is just so confusing right now that
It is.
there's so many people that don't know what directions. So if you had to give advice to a business owner or a property owner, and you had 3 bullet points to offer them, what would those 3 be?
The 3 bullet points that I would offer in terms of advice would be obviously to turn over every single rock possible of every type of commercial lender that's out there if you're in dire need of capital, which most of these businesses are, and keep every door open. So you've tried the government side with the PPP, EIDL, you've talked to the banks. You need to make sure that you speak to somebody like myself and other private lenders that are in the marketplace. 2, you got to make sure that does your business model, will it be competitive post-COVID? So what I think a lot of small businesses, the smart ones, have re-examined their business model. And they've said, gee, now post-COVID, what do we need to do to change our business in order to survive? That to me is a key bullet point. And 3 is also very important, is to see if you got to try to do the best you can to retain your key people. Obviously, a lot of employees who work for these small businesses are, you know, have been displaced and their lives have been turned upside down. So you really have to do whatever you can humanly possibly do to retain your good people, to make sure that they're going to stay with you for the long term so that your business can thrive. Those would be the 3 key points that I would give any small business.
Perfect. Great information, Mike. I appreciate you coming on, doing the interview. We're talking with Michael Ciaburri and with Worth Avenue Capital. And I wish you a safe and good day.
And you as well, Rick. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come on this morning. And please stay safe as well.
Thank you for watching today's interview. If you'd like to be a guest, a sponsor, or even advertise in the New England Real Estate Journal, you'll find our contact information in the description box below. You can also find all our social media platforms so you can follow us, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel.